one of the first things I do when I talk to someone is I ask them, what's their first meal? And a lot of times, people who think they are healthy, they're like, I eat a bowl of oatmeal and a banana. And it's like, in theory, it sounds good. But when you understand the human body and how important muscle is, skeletal muscle, the more skeletal muscle you have, the more healthy you're going to be overall.
The Competitive Edge Podcast, where champions aren't just born, they're made. Hosted by Brian Covey, former pro athlete turned high-performance executive and coach who's mastered the art of staying at the top of the game. He'll bring you trailblazers, industry leaders, and game changers, from achieving peak performance to building an unstoppable mindset. The Competitive Edge Podcast is your ultimate guide to rise. So ask yourself, are you ready to find your edge?
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Finding Your Competitive Edge. So today's guest, you're going to find out very quickly. If you were to see him through the screen on the video, you're going to know right away that Aaron Williamson not only represents what a physique can look like, the discipline, the actual time that he's spent, but also how he's learned to teach other people, not just Hollywood celebrities. And you're going to hear some of the names like The Rock and Sylvester Stallone, Zac Efron. I'm looking at Emily Clark, Jamie Foxx, like all these people you've heard about that we look at. And oftentimes we wonder, man, if I just had the secrets, if I just knew what those people knew, whether they knew how to make money or have a healthy body or great marriage, whatever it is, if you had those keys to success, what could you do with them? And so I met Aaron over a year ago. One of our friends, Renee Rodriguez, had a conference. Aaron was speaking there. And I remember right away, I was sharing this before we went live, is Aaron shared some things. And it caught me as someone that I thought I took care of my health. I kind of took care of my fitness. All these things were dialed in. Aaron starts talking about things like inflammation in our diet and how we train, the mental side of it. And it stirred something in me. And I shared a little bit of my journey with him of that sparked something. And that's our intent today is we're going to give you some information. We're going to share some things along the way, things that Aaron has learned through his training and his own journey in being a Marine and what he's learned through all of that. But more importantly, what you can go do in your own life. So buckle up, make sure you are ready for this. And as always, we appreciate you guys tuning in. So Aaron, welcome. I'm glad we got to finally reconnect and get you on the show.
Yeah, great introduction, man. Thank you. And, it always means a lot to me when I put something out there and it actually has impact on someone's life, especially in, someone in your position too, where you have the ability to share it to a large number of people. So I appreciate it. Yeah,
dude. I remember you were speaking from the stage and you're talking about some of Renee's journey. And a lot of times we find a little bit of our own story, listening to other people's stories. And you're talking about the things you had Renee doing with fasting and some of the inflammation and all that. I'm like, man, I kind of feel that like I'm good, but I wasn't really optimized. I was sharing with you is like this journey of figuring out I could lose another 6% body fat and all this. I'm like, let's be real. I didn't think I could. I had these limiting beliefs, all this stuff there. And so I wanted to kind of start there because I'm sure you work with people, probably some of them listening today, and they probably self-imposed, well, this is just my genetics. This is just how I am. This is, whatever it is. What have you found in your experience holds most people back from really getting to that optimized version of themselves and their health and fitness?
Well, I think one, it's a lack of knowledge. But also, too, I think where we're at right now in society, this pursuit of comfort, and it's like everyone likes to live in their comfort zone, and it's like people will go all the way to the end to just shy of clicking the purchase button of something that they really know that will impact their life in a positive way, and then I think that creeps in the mind like, if I really do this, my life is going to change, and I've got to be ready for that change. The question is, am I ready? Well, most people aren't ready because they're too scared, and I think maybe also too there's somewhat of a lack of belief that they can actually do it. Like you said before we started this podcast, you said there are levels, and I say it all the time. There are levels, and I think for most people, it's important to not try and overcomplicate things right out of the gate. I think baby step your way into the process, to the point where you can learn, you understand, you implement, you feel the difference, and then you go on to the next one, and you go on to the next one, and you go on to the next one. Like you were talking about before, you thought you thought you were healthy, but I brought up all these other things that are kind of the underlying piece, the internal health that a lot of people don't really understand. And whether it's called the health and longevity space, the biohacking space. And this is where you can really learn a lot, but it can also be a little overwhelming too by thinking about everything. So that's why it's important, if you're going to work with someone, they help you incrementally, bring it into your lifestyle rather than trying to, create take the lifestyle you have and, try and figure out a way to pull it in there, right? It's got to be a strategic thing.
Yeah. And I love it. And you talk about that too, is like making it a lifestyle. And I watch anybody I know that they've sustained any type of fitness. I always say is like 5-10 years, something that's actually stuck with them versus these quick fixes and these transformation challenges. While I know those have a place and all that, I love that you talk about the lifestyle piece, because I've actually had some friends that have decided, they've dropped alcohol, let's say, and they're at 2 years. One of them yesterday sent me a text like, hey man, I've been off, and that consistency's there. And then you mentioned something else that I think is important. I've learned this in my own journey, is those small incremental steps versus like just jumping in full swing. Like this year I started running a little bit. And I remember the first advice a coach gave me was, do not go out there and think you're going to run 5 miles straight through like you used to do. Like it just don't set yourself up for failure. What are some of the steps that if somebody's looking to embark on that next level for themselves, what are typically some of those early on steps that maybe people don't think of? You mentioned like education and all. I know I learned some things my way. What should they be looking at to get started in those first few steps?
Well, I think what's important is you really do an evaluation of your lifestyle, your day to day. What's the first thing you do when your alarm goes off in the morning? How do you set yourself up in those first couple hours of the day to be successful for the day? Did you meal prep? Are you just grabbing things on the go because you're not prepared for anything? Are you scrolling on your phone? So I say, try and think of things that actually move the needle, right? So when your alarm goes off, don't hit snooze, get up. If you have time, get up and go for a walk. When you come back, drink some water as soon as you get out of bed. Start out with those simple things. And then as you're doing this self-assessment of your lifestyle, look at your nutrition. What are you eating? Is it coming out of wrappers, boxes? Is it fast food on the go? Or are you taking time to do meal prep? Are you taking time or are you willing to invest in doing a meal prep service? Something that all you got to do now is, here's all your food ready now. All you got to do is grab it and eat it. So that's kind of where I start with everyone is, I'm like, tell me about your day so I can understand what the issues are, and then we can identify them and fill in the gaps.
I love that. And we end up having to do the meal prep service, because I will tell you, everyone's like, oh, what would be the hack? Well, if I had enough money, we hear these excuses. And I remember you sharing some of this too, was like, people think it's super expensive, but I look at food now, like going out, 3 kids, fast food, it is not cheap. And what are some of the myths or things if somebody's going, okay, Aaron, like, yeah, like meal prep, man, that's how, like, I need to get on that train. Like, they probably realize could be better. Are there things that you've done or you've seen with your clients that have helped them get into that meal prep consistency so that, they're not going out and, like you said, just grabbing the first thing out of the pantry or out of the wrapper, going through the drive-through?
Well, I think when it comes to food, I think it's important to understand macros. Macros meaning protein, carbohydrates, and fats. Yeah. And those have to be balanced into certain ratios for your body to respond the way you want it to. One of the first things I do when I talk to someone is I ask them, what's the first thing they eat every day, or what's their first meal? And a lot of times, people who think they are healthy, they're like, I eat a bowl of oatmeal and a banana. It's like, in theory, it sounds good. But when you understand the human body and how important muscle is, skeletal muscle, skeletal muscle being the currency of longevity, the more skeletal muscle you have, the more healthy you're going to be overall. The better your Body's going to be able to respond to things from an immune standpoint, but also too from a, body recomposition standpoint, build muscle, lose fat. So make meals protein focused. And I get asked a lot of questions about what's the best type of nutrition. Is it carnivore? Is it Mediterranean? And I say the best nutrition is the one you're going to follow. So find something that works for you, that feels good, that tastes good, that's easy to follow. Like snap into it with something like that. Get into a routine of consistency and structure, and then you can start to build on that. But I think really I'm all about simplicity. People overcomplicate the shit out of everything, and it doesn't need to be that way. So the more simple you can make it on yourself, the easier it's going to be. So think about when you're getting meal prep, you're trying to focus on meals that are heavy in protein. Depending on what your goal is, you're trying to build muscle, you're trying to lose fat. If you're trying to lose fat, I'd say probably focus more on, protein and fats. And if you want to build muscle and get bigger, or if you're an endurance or, athlete or something like that, then I would say lower the fats and bring more carbohydrates in.
I love it. You hear people talk about this stuff all the time. And I love something too. I don't want people to miss this, is what I learned in my own journey this year is like simplicity. Once I found a few good meals that just worked, it sounds really boring, but it was like the same recovery shake afterwards, right? The same meals. And my wife would joke. She's like, "Are you going to eat that again?" I go, that chicken to me, like that flavor and what was in that. And for me, I was doing sweet potatoes and some things that worked really well for what I was training. I was like, if it works, it works. And I got to the point where I stopped craving some of those other things that I had. And so I love that you break that down, because people just get lost in this. And something else that you shared, I'd love for you to kind of expand on is people are looking at where they are in the skeletal muscle. This is one I've really been fascinated over the past year or two, really. Like I've always kind of lifted and done things, but it seems like there's now a shift and a focus of people realizing like, you've got to build muscle and the skeletal muscle matters. Like I know what I would call skinny fat runners, right? Like you see them and they're skinny, but there's no tone or there's no muscle happening. Explain like where people can kind of hone in on that to make sure, because I hear so many different things like, oh, lift like a bodybuilder. Oh, go do CrossFit training. Oh, go do power lift. Like there's all this stuff out there that help us cut through the noise.
Yeah. All three of those things you said right there, bodybuilding, CrossFit, powerlifting. If you can find anything in that realm that you like or enjoy, I mean, you can kettlebells. What it really comes down to is resistance training, getting under free weight, getting under load. Hypertrophy is what is going to give you the best results the quickest. And, if you can train in a way that you can keep yourself healthy, I like to train like a bodybuilder. I like the bodybuilding type of routines. Granted, they're always different for me depending on what, block I'm in or what phase of training I'm in. But I really enjoy pushing my limits because there's a lot of mental growth in it too. But when backtracking for 1 second here, we're talking about nutrition. When you're eating garbage or non-healthy foods so much, your body actually craves that because that's what it knows. When you move into more healthy foods, your body actually starts to detoxify itself by getting rid of the inflammation, because now it's eating healthy foods that don't cause inflammation that the body actually wants. So once that inflammation starts to dissipate, what you'll notice is even when you get into the gym, you're going to notice your muscles feel different in the way they contract and your strength and your recovery. So these are, I always say nutrition dictates the training, right? If you're trying to do some, crazy volume like CrossFit or maybe a really intense bodybuilding routine or even powerlifting, you have to have certain caloric intake to support that type of training, which most people don't. They'll eat like 900 calories or 1400 calories, and they'll go in and train like twice a day. And, they're burning off so many more calories that the body, it goes into this mode of, it doesn't want to get rid of anything because it doesn't know when it's going to eat again. Yeah. So it goes back to getting on your body's, gastric emptying cycle rhythm of eating. You hear, eat every 3 to 4 hours. Your body processes, digests food in that time. So then if you can get on that schedule, it becomes seamless. And now all of a sudden your body knows when it's going to eat, and then you know what to eat, and you're going to know how you're going to feel. And if something's off, you're going to know it's off. You know what I mean? This is like getting in tune with your body.
So if I'm starting, and I get asked this question too, and you're talking about calories and how many people should have, is there some formula out there that somebody's looking to use or that you've seen work? I'm sure it kind of varies, but is there some way to approach that where they know how many calories, and you're talking about macros and all that? Somebody's listening.
So what I would say, there's a website called TDEE, Total Daily Energy Expenditure. Okay. TDEE calculator. If you go online and put that in, it's going to pull up a sheet, and it's going to help you figure all that out. But really, here's a really simple way to think about it. If you know how many calories you're going to take in, which the TDE calculator will tell you, or get a coach, protein, carbohydrates are the same. Per gram equal 4 calories. Fats per gram equal 9 calories. So let's just say you get 100 grams of protein. That's 400 carbs, or 400 protein. And let's just say the same thing for simplicity here. Same thing with carbs. You get 100 carbs, you're getting 400 calories from there. Let's just say you do 100 grams of fat. Well, now you're getting 900 calories from fat. So if you add the total up, that would be your total calories you're taking in for the day. So kind of a simple way to make it make more sense, I guess. But if you go to the calculator, it'll help you a lot, and it'll spit out some different metrics at the bottom too. Are you trying to stay in maintenance? Are you trying to lose? Are you trying to build?
Hey guys, it's Brian here. I hope you are enjoying the show. By the way, if you're an entrepreneur or a solopreneur looking to grow your personal brand, make a bigger impact, maybe increase your leads and grow your revenue, let's help you get started today by connecting up with my friends over at the Brand Builders Group. You've heard me talk about them, but if you're new here, this is definitely the first step to get you started in turning your reputation into revenue. Head over to freebrandcall.com/Brian Covey. Again, to set up your free brand call, go to freebrandcall.com/Brian Covey to set up a free strategy call with one of the team at Brand Builders, and they will dive into your specific goals for how you want to grow your personal brand. I can't wait to hear how it goes. This is going to be one of the pieces I want people to make sure they tune in for. This is a lot of our people that listen, right? They're entrepreneurs. They're in the financial services space. They've had a coach in their life for business. It's usually what they hire somebody for. It's like, help me make more money, help me do this better, help me run my company and all that. You're in the fitness coaching space, and obviously I listed out some of the clients in the intro. Like, people you've worked with are the elite of the elite. Like, even in the fitness side, if you look at the actors and actresses, like, they're pretty shredded. Why should somebody get a fitness coach? Because I have this conversation with people all the time. They're like trying to do it on their own, and I just sit back. But I figure I would just toss that up to you because you see it and you're coaching in the space. Why should somebody have a fitness coach, and what does that typically offer them?
Yeah, I mean, you just mentioned it. I'm using one of my old coaches right now. Like, even I got a coach. You know what I mean? Because really, when it comes to the human body, the physique, all the different factors that come into play day to day, stress, sleep, hydration, food, like, there's so many things that can throw you off. If you're not eating the same thing consistently every day, in terms of like making sure you understand how much of what you're supposed to eat, then you're going to be all over the place and not really know how to figure things out. So having a coach is one, it can be accountability. Two, it can help bring you to the next level of educating you on the things you don't know. Because right now in today's society, the health and fitness space is so dynamic. I mean, it's like almost, I would say on a daily basis, there's a new study coming out. It's like we might be saying something right now that's going to be disproven 5 years from now to something more accurate. Just like, if you look at creatine, look at how long creatine's been around, and look at how many, studies have been done. And now it's like going into the whole cognitive, playing field of everyone should be taking creatine. So
yeah,
it helps you identify things that you're not thinking about. Having a coach allows you to take all the guessing out of it and allow the coach to help you build a blueprint so that way you can implement it into your current lifestyle without feeling like you're too interrupted and don't know where to go. And, a lot of times people are like, man, I just feel like I'm running around, my hair on fire. I'm on a plane, I'm traveling, I got a family, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do this. This is where a coach comes in and helps. It's like, all right, let's break this down in blocks. Yeah. And then when you are traveling, reach out to me. Let's see what your options are. So it's like you there's so much you can learn along the way having a coach. But the accountability piece is huge, because if you don't have the accountability, then what is there? Because the human mind can justify anything.
Isn't that the truth? Yeah, I think about that as we've got this group of guys, we all train together, and hopefully they won't mind me sharing this, but we're embarking on, we do these challenges throughout the years, every once in a while to check in, and everybody's checking in the other day, and I've been on a very different journey, right? And I mentioned you inspired me to do some of this, and my coach was helping me through some goals, and like we would measure things like in body, and then we would tracking all this. Like I knew my scoreboard, and then some of the guys came in, they're like, and they haven't measured their stuff in months, right? And they get in there and they're like, holy cow. And like they were where I was 6+ months ago, didn't know how they got there because they hadn't been tracking it. They didn't have a plan. And so if you're listening out there, just know, we all kind of laughed. It's like the most out of shape, but yet fit people in the gym, right? They weren't tracking it. And so you don't have a map, you don't have somebody coaching you along the way. You may just end up anywhere and not know. I'd love to know, as you've coached people, what are typically the things now that they've said, okay, I'm going to work with a coach, what are some of the breakthroughs or any successes that you've seen? Because you've worked with some people, and I saw some testimonials, like the average person listening to this today, right? They're not a Hollywood star, like trying to get super ripped or whatever it is. What can they expect, or any success stories you could share with them?
Well, I think one of the most important pieces, and something I see a lot in the world of business, is we oftentimes get so tunnel vision on one thing or our core focus that we lose track on everything else. And I'd say 9 times out of 10, health is always on the outer purview. And I just posted a video on my social media this morning talking about it. But you can't think about your health when it's already too late. There's a lot of stuff going on right now in your body that I guarantee is not good. And if it doesn't get addressed, there's going to come a point in time where that emergency light is going to go off, and you're going to end up on medication. You're going to end up in the hospital. You're going to have a stroke. You're going to die. Like something bad is going to happen. So if you can really, I would say, embrace understanding your body more, putting more focus and attention on it, start eating cleaner, you're going to start feeling better energy, better mood. Your skin's going to look better. When you walk into a room, people oftentimes will start to take you more seriously when they see that you actually have discipline and you say, or you do what you say you're going to do. Because a lot of times we all talk about getting on track, getting back on track, getting on the wagon. New Year's right around the corner, and then nothing happens. Or you go to a business function or something like that, and you know how the food is at these things. It's amazing, but not in the best way. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, the human mind justifying, I'll just let go a little bit tonight. Well, it shows everyone around you that you're not as committed as you say you are. So there's external factors, there's internal factors. But I say a lot of times you just start to have all these different light bulb moments happen once you embark on this journey that you commit to. But you have to be committed to it, and you have to be consistent to it. And if you do that, I promise you your life will change in a way that you can't even comprehend right now, specifically from the point of the way you feel overall and your body composition overall.
Yeah, man, I can attest to that too. And, I was sharing some of the numbers and results with you. There's things that you can't even put a price tag on. And I look and it's like, my two boys, I got one's 9, one's 15, our daughter's our oldest, 17. And it's just nice. It's always like to be healthy and fit. And they kind of joke. They're like, yeah, you're the healthiest dad. Or, the dads at the soccer practice, like when I'm walking or jogging or whatever, and people are sitting, like to be different is a good thing. And you've been sharing a lot of that. And I love that messaging. And one of the other messages you've shared a lot, Aaron, that resonates with me, my dad being a psychologist and you spending time in the Marines and seeing things that most people never see, is the actual mental side of this. And so I'd love for you to touch on that, because I found going through this last season and cycle of how much mentally I had to work through stuff myself, that just me going out on the jogs, just me lifting the weights was therapy. Like,
yeah.
I look forward to it. So how does that all connect? And should people think about the mental side of the game?
That's my biggest, that's really my biggest focus when it comes to fitness that I try and share with people is health and fitness is a mindset more than it is anything physical, because you can't get to the physical part until your mind's, on board with you saying, I'm going to do it. But it challenges you, it pushes you. You'll find yourself sitting there having conversations, or maybe even having an internal argument about not wanting to do something that you should be doing because you said you were going to do it, or it's on the schedule to do. So it goes back to I don't, maybe for some people rebuilding, and then for some people just building a certain level of discipline. And the more discipline you can build, the better off you're going to feel, because fitness is the gateway drug to everything. And, if you get up in the morning and go for a walk when you get out of bed versus getting up in the morning and just sitting on the couch watching the news or drinking coffee, your perspective of the day is going to be so different, and it's something that's really hard to put into words, but I guarantee anyone who is listening to this, if you get up tomorrow morning, get out of bed, drink a tall glass of water and go for a walk for 30 minutes, I guarantee you're going to think about so much on that walk. I tell people, I'm like, take a notepad or pull your voice memo out, because when you're out walking, you're going to be thinking about all these things creatively that you're not going to remember when you get back, because they come at the cyclic rate.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's with fitness too. You go in there, like, I don't know anyone who leaves the gym feeling worse than when they came in. You know what I mean? It's medicine. Movement is medicine. Mm-hmm. So that's really what it comes down to, is in this toxic society that we live in right now, you have to bulletproof your mind, and fitness is the best way to do that.
I love that. You had me thinking too, because I actually had to start using the voice memo, because usually I'm sweaty when I'm running, and my brain is like, and my mind is coming up with some of the best ideas. People are like, oh, I'll get my ideas in the shower. My ideas come when I'm out in nature, like walking and running. Like that's just, and I'm doing voice memos to myself. And what's funny is I shared this with somebody the other day about like some of the content that I'll share literally comes from me on my run talking to myself. And so if you're not giving yourself that opportunity to do it, you're missing out. And I love what you shared there. And because I have found through those is like, even the other day, I was even in that little rut. I'm sitting on the couch. It's the end of the day, about 5 o'clock. I'm tired. Let's be real. I'm just kind of like in that mode. I'm like, I've gone all day back to back to back. I've already worked out that morning, and our youngest comes home and he's like, hey dad, let's go shoot baskets and all that stuff. And my first, I don't want to do that. So we go do it. Long story short, ends up my wife says, hey, why don't you guys go for a bike ride and run? I'm like, I hadn't run that day. And so I go out, run 3.5 miles, nothing huge, not fast, by the way, either. Like nothing super impressive on any account, other than I got up off the couch. My energy was so low sitting on the couch. I remember thinking my energy from that point to when I came back, even just during the run, but afterwards was like, I was awake and functioning. And, that's the difference when you said, movement is medicine. If we're not moving, it's not there. So love to ask you this as we start to kind of wrap for people as they're listening to this? They're like, okay, we've talked about nutrition and how that's, can impact inflammation, different things, meal prepping, all these kind of things. What different styles of training are there? If somebody's listening to this and they're like, okay, Aaron, like all this stuff sounds good. Like where do I start? Like today, if you were going to map out, are there things that people could start to do where they say like you just shared, wake up tomorrow, drink a tall glass of water and walk? What else should they be thinking about to start adding? Because you mentioned those baby steps earlier. How do they start to build this and move forward?
Well, when you go back to doing that assessment of your day, write it all out. Write out what you do from the time you get up till the time you go to bed. Write out what your meals look like. Write it out so you can see what it actually looks like. And then based on that, you can go through there and kind of tick mark the things that you know are not good. And those are the things that you can start to address. And again, you don't have to do them all at one time, but one by one until you get to the bottom of the list, whether it's day by day, week by week, whatever it is that helps you rebuild or reestablish some new lifestyle habits. Yeah. That's going to be the most effective way. And what that could be is like, all right, we talked about macros. Is your first meal oatmeal and a banana, or can you get a little bit of protein with that too? Maybe some whole eggs, maybe some Greek yogurt, with some mixed berries or some nuts, or something simple. Like take the things that are not good and replace them with something that is good. Mm-hmm. And just doing those little things, getting into the gym, training, let's just say 3 to 4 times a week for 30 minutes each. Walk for 30 minutes in the morning whenever you can do it. The more you do that, the cleaner you eat, the more you're going to crave those things because you feel so good doing them. You talked about being on the couch, and it's a problem we have in society in general is, people get up in the morning from sleeping all night laying down. Then they go sit on the couch until it's time to go, and then they're rushing to get to an office where they're going to be sitting down all day. Yeah. To get home, maybe hit fast food on the way home, then you're going back home to sit on the couch to watch TV, and then you're going back to bed. It's like, where is there anything healthy going on there? Yeah. So you have to, if it was easy, everyone would do it. And again, society in the pursuit of comfort, everyone is always looking for a way to make something easier. And I was just talking about this with someone yesterday. Some things are just meant to be hard because that's what makes you grow. Your body responds to stimulus. If there's no stimulus, there's nothing the body has to respond to.
I love that. We use that saying in our family all the time. It's like, we do hard things. Like it's just, as a family, that's what we do.
Do the hard stuff.
And I would tell you this, anybody that's listening, they have kids out there will know this, but like, my boys will come out there and sometimes in the middle of my workout and they'll see me. And sometimes it's not pretty. It's me grinding through like on an assault bike where it is just, it's hell on there. And seeing that, and setting the example. And I love what you said is just start to replace those things. That was big for me of like, I'm just going to replace this. I know this isn't good. What am I going to replace it with? And move through. One of the things I was telling my guys the other day at the gym and they laughed at me, but I love ice cream. Like that was my big thing for a while. Right. And we got a Ninja Creamy and I figured out how to put like a protein blend together and freeze it and all that, where it's basically just all of my, like what I'd make in a protein shake, and I froze it and it comes out, looks like a Frosty, kind of tastes like that without all the sugar and the crap in it. And I remember I was like, oh, okay. Like it took me months to break the cycle, but I'm like, it's basically now just a frozen, post-workout shake. And I'm going, I don't even crave the ice cream. Like I tried a bite the other night. I got to tell you this, Aaron. It's like, I tried to eat some Ben & Jerry's. My body was like, no, it didn't hit right. So I share that for everybody just to know, like, I'm human. Sometimes you have those little things, but when you get to the other point, what Aaron's talking about is like, my body really does crave the good stuff. And it knows now on the other side of this is what we're intended to feel like with, don't have the inflammation, don't have the joint and pain and all the things. Well, brother, as we wrap, I want to make sure people know how to get in touch with you and put a little plug in for, I know your services, and now you've partnered up with somebody and you guys have, your coaching company and things there. Let's put a little plug in so people know how to get in touch with you and also what services you offer.
Yeah. So, there's a fitness coaching company, one of the best in the world, literally, that I'm aligned with right now. It's called Suprahuman. If you want to check it out, CEO, the number 2, superhero.com, CEO to superhero.com. That'll bring you through my pipeline where you can read about kind of, what I'm doing and how it works. And then if you're interested, you can get on the call with one of the team members and they'll talk you through how it works. But we have just a really great group of individuals who we're all in alignment with each other. We all look like we live the lifestyle because we do. Mm-hmm. And that's the whole goal, man, is really just being able to share that with as many people as possible, because we need health more now than we ever have. And I'm active on social media, mostly on Instagram, Aaron V. Williamson, or you can hit my website, aaronwilliamson.net, not .com, .net, because .com will have you asking questions about who Aaron Williamson is, and that ain't me.
We'll put all the links in there. And brother, thanks for making time. And I definitely wanted to have you on because I share with people all the time is the cool part about having a show is bringing people on that have impacted me. And I go, well, if they've impacted my life and helped me create a breakthrough, I know for sure if people are listening and willing to take the hard actions to move forward, you can have the results that you want in your own health and fitness. And look no further, is I'm no different than those of you guys listening to this right now going, I just wanted something better. I didn't really know what that was, but I knew a few things, and I knew enough that what Aaron had shared and following his content and some other people, I'm like, I'm going to take some action towards this. And the worst thing that happened is I got healthier and I figured out some things. The best thing that happened is you have a massive breakthrough, which you probably, those of you listening, want in your life. And there's no reason to wait until 2025 to do it, as Aaron shared. So we'll put his links in there. Make sure you follow him, hook up with him and his team. And not only does he share great resources, I'll just tell you is I've watched and consumed a lot of his videos that always says like, if it's actionable and it helps me move forward. But for some of you, you need a coach in your life. You need somebody outside of just business to help you move forward. And we've talked about how those things are interconnected. So Aaron, thanks for jumping on, my friend.
I appreciate you. And good luck to everyone out there listening to it. 2025 is around the corner and it's your year, I promise.
Yeah, you said something. I'm going to close with this is we need more, especially the men out there, to show up and throw away the old dad bod kind of joke and all the things there and show up and be healthy in a culture and a society that is not promoting that the way that we know it should. And imagine you're the one in your family, your circle of friends and community, your gym, wherever you are, that you step out and you actually live that life. How many people can you inspire to then go take that next step? So that's the challenge for you as you leave. Do something that we shared with you today. Go implement it. As always, let us know if anything's impacted you or you've heard something today you take action on. I love to hear that. Like, subscribe, leave us a review on the podcast. That's how we get out to more people. And we continue to bring you valuable guests like Aaron that I believe can change your life and make sure that you're living your best life. So until then, go out there, do something great, be a blessing in the world. Take your health and fitness seriously. Let's help you get to the next level. Until then, catch you on the next episode. See you guys.